Please pronounce your name correctly for me.
So I'll say it like in Norwegian, Hans Christian Skovholt.
Now, are you Norwegian?
Yes,
Okay,
I'm Norwegian.
great.
Born and raised, mostly. Yeah.
How is it mostly?
We spent a few years in France and some in Belgium.
Fair enough. All right. So now give me the exact definition of your description when it comes to LIAF,
Yeah.
and also sort of maybe a little bit about what you do outside of LIAF as well. So sort of a little background on what it is you do in the creative profession these days.
Yeah. So in LIAF, I think the title is technical producer. So this comes down to, at this stage, it's planning of what will be done. And since we're here now, it's difficult to bring stuff up here. It takes good planning. So it's important to get down as many details as possible long before the actual show. So this could be what kind of equipment will be needed, which is the most important thing right now, because we're gonna rent quite a lot of equipment. And some of this will be sent from Finland, I believe. So this has to be done in advance.
Why do you need equipment from Finland? Is it specialized equipment that's only available in Finland?
No, this is a company that I've been using with LIAF for many years. So this is mostly audiovisual equipment.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, if you have a company that you've worked with for years, why not stay with them?
Yeah, and this guy apparently loves Lofoten as well, the guy who runs the company. So they have some good connection.
Perfect. Now, what do you do when you're not working for LIAF?
In Lofoten, I've been. I brought my bicycle, so I've been bicycling.
That's very funny. No, I meant like, what as a profession do you do when you're not here?
Currently I can try to list some of the things I'm doing at the same time. So I'm managing a construction project in Oslo.
Wait, like literally just like construction? Like
no, it is in the arts.
Okay, I'm thinking like a hotel or something.
No,
like, okay.
but it's a quite extensive rebuild of an existing space. Actually, an old theater space where Edith Piaf has performed.
Lovely.
Apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
A long time ago. This is for something called UKS, Young Artists Society. I think that's how they translate it. And this is an organization that's it is 100 years old. And they got a new space, and it needs to be refit for their purpose. And they got quite some money from different stipends and some from state to make this refit. And they need someone to manage it.
Okay, so you're talking about like technical redesign, acoustics.
No, at this stage it's been demolishing a lot of stuff, like 20 containers. Like now we're talking 10 to 30 cubic meters each of stuff that has been going out. And then there is like managing the different trades. Like we will have someone pouring a lot of concrete to make exhibition floors. Then you have electricians, plumbers, carpenters, and there are some architects involved. And of course the end users, which is UKS, and they have a board that make decisions. So it's a lot of people involved. But I'm managing, like making it happen, in the sense that I have to make a timeline and make sure things happen. So we're ready for opening sometime in October, actually. So.
Oh, that's very soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're basically like the cat herder.
Yeah, you could call it that.
It's a joke in the arts that we say like organizing artists is like herding cats.
Oh yeah, okay, yes.
Yeah, because you can't herd cats very well.
No, this thing I mentioned now, that's people do that. That's a job in the construction world. I mean, people do that for a living, managing.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't think I would be interested in doing it in that sense. But when it's in the arts, it's always a bit I don't know, different.
So, what other jobs do you hold?
When new schools, for example, are built in Norway, a portion of the budget for building them is set aside for art. So I have one project where I'm together with another artist. We are the kind of curators, or we are the leading this. It's what do you call it? This group of people representing the school and the municipality and so on. And we propose. This is a long process where we, in the end, will get to art for the school, like to either through a contest or directly inviting some artists. And they will have quite a substantial budget to make art for this school.
Yeah, it's like a 1% for the arts kind of a project.
Yeah, almost. It's not that much in this case, but it's still a lot of money.
Yeah, it's rarely ever actually 1%, but it's just a term that was often used just to explain what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, this things is like it takes time. I'm maybe 2 to 3 years we will have a result.
I was gonna say it sounds like almost all okay. So you brought up 3 different things that you're doing, and all of them sound very long term as far as sort of project timelines.
Yeah. Well, yes, LIAF is about that. It's less than a year from I started. This projects I mentioned before that's more than 1 year. But yeah, I like that the project has some duration.
It's great for money. I mean, it's consistency.
Yeah, but and also income. Like it's nice to be able to kind of think about and process something for a long time, rather than doing many small things.
As most people in the creative world do.
Yeah, at times. I mean, some artists have the privilege on working for stuff for decades.
Oh boy, the dream.
Yeah.
And is that all you're doing? I mean,
no.
enough.
There we have more.
You have more. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, one project just finished a couple of days ago. That's that in that case I'm it's called the producer, and it's for an art piece on the new National Museum in Oslo by an artist called Siri Aurdal. So it's a sculpture on the roof, which basically, or if I simplify the description, it's a bunch of quite big industrial pipes that are cut in two and then sliced diagonally somehow, and this then you have some kind of building blocks that you can put these pipes together and make new shapes, connect them. So it's quite a big sculpture with these pipes on the roof of the new museum, and this has also required a lot of planning. I think that's been 2.5 years or something from start till we're now finished. For example, these pipes come from another country. Cutting this pipe is really it's polyester and fiberglass, so it's creates a lot of waste and hazardous dust.
I was going to say toxicity.
Yeah, so you need all kinds of preparations to do this in health and safety wise acceptable manner.
Yeah, I used to be the health and safety chair at my university, and so like I know far too much about that stuff. So, you know, to the point that I'm like, I can't go into a studio. Everything's toxic.
Yes. And another aspect, these pipes are quite expensive, so you don't want to make mistakes. These things need to fit together. It's a pattern for bolting them together. Everything needs to be right. Otherwise, you will have problems later, which are not you would rather not encounter them. So it's better to be as prepared as you can.
So what I'm hearing is like you are a very meticulous person, like almost even like part engineer.
Yes. I usually, that's a good description, and part architect as well. I'm in the sense that I make a lot of these construction drawings, which is also required. Yeah, just to get things manufactured or to see that something actually fits in the space before you plan too much.
Well, like, what's your background? So what kind of education did you get?
I'm from the art academy, basically. So in Trondheim, is a city in Norway, and in Oslo.
So no engineering degrees,
no.
Like
I mean, I've been thinking about doing that. I think my father said that I was destined to become an engineer, but you know, I don't like to do exactly what people tell me.
Well, I mean, it's one of those interesting things, like, because you went down the artistic path as far as an education, and you work in the arts, but you work in a very sort of oppositely. Like, to me, artists are like free floating, the creatives. They come, but you're coming at this from a very practical, technical sort of standpoint of like how to accomplish a goal.
Yeah,
I love it. I wish there were more of you to help us.
Well, from experience, I think that's in quite a few cases that is the way you have to do things. Or of course there are other ways, but those are, then you end up with chaotic situations. And I prefer not. I mean, that then you don't know how much time you will use. Everything is floating. Then I couldn't do multiple things at the time if every project was.
Yeah, well, I mean, to me, it's like you're filling in a little bit of the gap of some artists' like inabilities. You know, like I know a lot of artists that are great with ideas and sort of overviews and broad strokes, but like you're the one that comes in and actually makes it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. All right, so let's go to LIAF in particular. So how did you get? And
I have one more of those projects, but I'm not going to say that many details. But it's a similar thing, and it's for another museum outside Oslo called the Skovholt Museum. You probably heard of that. It's where they have the twist. It's this. It's a building by these Danish architects.
Yes, I know the building actually.
And I'm sure there are some other small things, but those are the most the kind of what occupies most of my mind at this point in time.
Fair enough. So back again to LIAF, because that's really what this is all about.
Yeah.
How did you get the position here? So like, because I always wondered like, how do people even get their jobs? So like, did you make a proposal? Did they find you? Like, how did that come about?
So I've been doing some stuff for Helga, which is one of the board members, artistic board, I think they call it. She proposed to the board to use me, and then they contacted me, and even though I had a lot to do, it was I couldn't resist this opportunity. I never been this far north, never been to Lofoten. So
born and raised in Norway, but never been up here.
No, and that's quite common actually.
Is it?
Yes. Like if you're down in Oslo, a lot of people have never been there.
Interesting.
Yes.
I would never. I mean, to me, it's a reasonably small country, so it seems pretty common that you would go all around.
Well, on the same, I mean, it's 1.5 hour flight time or so. No, actually, with the small plane, it's more. So, like from Bodø to here, maybe
From Bodø to here was only
that was 25
minutes. Yeah,
and Oslo Bodø is 1.5 hour, I think.
yeah. So it's a 2 hour total.
Yeah. So from
layover.
Oslo, you can, if you fly 2 hours into Europe, you will get to, I don't know, Italy, Spain.
Yeah, so that's a little bit more attractive, I guess, for most people.
I don't know, not anymore. Or well, I like those places also. I don't mind them, but I certainly feel that it was a good opportunity to fill in some gaps in Norway, and from what I know and have heard from friends who've been there, this is a really beautiful place. So.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
No way I could resist that offer.
Yeah, I mean, this is an amazing opportunity for me to be able to even come up here. So, like, I'm quite excited, and it's a stunning landscape, and fascinating people, location, the history. There's so much here. So, when you were brought on, so what was the task that was set up for you? Because, I mean, were you brought on in the beginning, and so you had to like start from scratch? Was there already pre-existing things that you then sort of had to build on?
Yeah, well, they had started the process with the curators, so I mean they had an initial list of artists, but this is constantly changing. I think. Hopefully it's set 100% now. I think, yeah, it must be, because, or if they bring something more on board, it would need to be something that has any very demanding requirements in technical terms. So I think maybe this was in January. I think I had the first Zoom meeting. Because it's only been Zoom meetings so far. This is the first time I meet people in this LIAF context, like physically.
So you were hired in January, but it is now beginning of June, and this is the first time you've seen the physical location and all the concerns that may arise, let's say. You know.
But that's not. I've been studying videos, photographs, maps, and so on, and plan drawings. So I had a pretty okay idea of what to expect. But it's always a little bit different when you see things.
So what's different? So from the plans and the theories and the videos and the photos, what was an unforeseen thing that you got here and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that.
Well, I'm not sure if it has been any of those real moments where some light bulb or not really. I mean, there are just small things. Nothing that I think about now. I may have made some notes on a spreadsheet or something, but no new grave concerns.
Well, I mean, LIAF has been running for 30 years. So this is a biennial, so they've done this 15 times. So, I mean, to a certain extent, a lot of the systems are already in place, but it is still a unique festival in the way that it's almost never in the same location twice.
Exactly. So this is the first time they used the school, for example.
Right.
Yeah, but we have the students from the local, what's it called? Nordland Kunst- og Filmskole.
Yeah, the film school.
That has their degree, or preparing for the degree show in the same location. So
they've already tested out some of the problems for you as well.
Yeah, or maybe they just made a lot of clutter, so I couldn't see the whole structure.
Well, but I'm sure they also sort of maybe even added in some things that could be helpful as well.
Yeah, I mean, at least you could get an idea of, say, acoustics. So.
Or like lighting and like being able to black out the light, because the light is a big issue here.
Yeah, we will need to black out quite a few windows.
I would imagine.
because they want a lot of projections.
Which of course is very technical. So, which is one of my big questions, because like this place, as much as it's great and I really enjoy being here, it's pretty, what I would consider, coming from, you know, America and Europe and stuff, it's pretty remote. And so like there's a huge amount of a budget even that would have to be spent to get supplies here, especially technical stuff. So I mean, how much of a concern is all of that? I mean, timing, budget, shipping costs.
I'm really not handling the budget, so
that's
I'm
such a
luckily
desire.
unaware of those details.
Oh, that's so nice.
But yeah, obviously it requires some kind of budgets.
I love it. So you have the job of like making things happen, but you don't have to concern yourself with how much it costs.
Well, someone will tell me if okay, this we have to find another solution. This will be too expensive.
So what are some of the technical aspects that you've run into? Because I would imagine, you know, I walked around with the sites with you all, so there's things about like installing things as far as like hanging materials, you know, fastening materials, things along this line. But there's also probably some things that'll need like forklifts and other sort of for heavy things. Is there?
There is no this in that sense. This is a manageable exhibition so far. No, of course there is the big gym, if you saw that space, which will have some huge canvases, 3 of them. I think they're like 10 by 13 meters.
Right, so a scissor lift to at least.
Yeah, they already
had
one in there, but we need to, we'll see, attach some wires or some kind of system to hang this.
Right, some rigging.
So in that case, I made quite precise drawings of the space, so I can continue thinking about this in detail back home, because that will require some preparation.
Well, this job that you have it sounds like great fun, because basically you sit down with creative people, they have some great idea, and then your role is to sort of interpret it and then make it happen. So that mindset is a very collaborative process.
Yeah.
Like you know, to a certain extent, like you're not making your artwork, but you're sort of a part of a larger sort of system that collaborates and works together. So that takes a lot of very strong communication skills, acceptance of compromise, you know, lots of different things that not every creative person is willing or able to do.
True. Yeah, I think the clear communication and being specific about details early, like so that no surprises come later in the process for the artist, for example. So prepare them for everything.
Well, but
also agree, make like good plans so everyone can say yes, this we can live it, or this looks great to us, or whatever. Visualizing the plans in CAD drawings or 3D renderings or whatever, that can often be part of a process.
Okay, so I mean, this is a lot of artists are very willy-nilly. They're like, yeah, I'll just put something over there, I'll just think of the but like this is your aspect of putting this all together needs a certain amount of specificity.
Yeah, well, then you have to explain that this has to be cut in advance in a factory, for example. When they come, they have to make a foundation. This has to fit together, otherwise it's not going up. So yeah.
How did you get to this? So I'm thinking, so you went to art school did you have like a major in art school, like a discipline?
Yeah, I had like the master from Oslo. It's I don't know if it maybe it was a professor in sculpture that the professor at the time, Henrik Plenge Jacobsen, Danish artist. Well, I guess I some of the art I made myself at times was kind of technically complex and challenging, and then also I throughout art school always helped others. Help them in the same sense that I do professionally now. And I enjoy it. So
I love that kind of stuff, like where like in the arts versus many other professions, like when somebody runs into a problem, we often have this great peer group or friends, whatever, that we can sort of lean to and say like, hey, you have some expertise here and I have a weakness here. Could you help me out? And oftentimes we are all very willing to be of assistance to this, but you've turned that into a job, which is really cool. Like, I mean, you get to basically be the support staff more or less to like fulfill creative ideas.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a job.
No, I had an idea that this was something needed, and I don't know, gradually because people do this, but only, I mean, there are a lot of the architects, for example, who occasionally do this kind of things, but not so many have expertise and do it like routinely. And I have a lot of artists, architect friends, but I think I'm far more experienced and in this kind of context than they are, because they don't have the experience.
Yeah, I mean, I met one guy a long time ago. Like his entire expertise was acoustics. That's it. So like he would collaborate with artists for sound projects, but he would also collaborate with architects in creating great acoustics in the spaces that architects were trying to design. I mean, that just sounds so much fun to like be like being able to sort of like enhance the artistic ideas, basically. Like you're the guy that enhances because we can come up with great ideas, but then you can say, well, we can accomplish it this way.
Yeah, and it has to be said that a big part of this is also being good at directing questions to other experts. So I do that quite a lot. If it's something that I don't know, I will ask someone else.
Now, just to be clear, like from my interactions with you, I feel like you're reasonably young.
Yeah. Everything's relative.
Yeah, that's why I said reasonably young. Because you, like me, I'm like very gray-haired and looking old, I'm sure. But like you look quite young. I don't know if that's a Norwegian thing or if you're actually young. Approximately, how old are you?
I'm 40.
Yeah, you're pretty. Then you look stunning for 40.
Thanks.
But the reason why I ask is because this kind of a profession, I feel like you gain knowledge and expertise over the years, and sort of you get better reputations. At 40, you're already working with large institutions, national museums, all this kind of stuff. Is that normal for a person of your age?
In another context, I mean, if I've been an engineer, I could certainly have by 40 worked on, I don't know, proofing the concept of the museum or something. I think that's totally feasible, but
totally out of the realm of my knowledge. That's why I'm just just asking.
I don't think that nothing abnormal.
Fair enough. All right. Now, so back to LIAF in particular. So what are some of the things, because you said like some things need to be shipped. We had a conversation, I think it was a couple of days ago, about that like technical things have to be requested basically this week. So first week
basically
of June.
Today, some of it. So this is some of the work that's left for me today to send.
Well, but it's not because of like shipping times and things like this. It's because there's holidays.
Yeah, and also that is this particular company, which from where we will get most of the audio and video equipment. They said that this is our deadline. You have to stick with it.
Which is a very unique European thing. Like I've run into this a lot where people will be like, oh yeah, if you want that, be sure to get it in before the beginning of July, or because we go on vacation in July. Like the whole company shuts down and they do nothing. Or, in some parts of Europe, it's August because it's really hot. And so like everybody takes that time off. That is not an American thing at all. Where like they will, if it's money, they will do the job no matter what.
Yes. But maybe they actually need it tomorrow. It's Sunday today, so who knows?
Yeah, I doubt they need it on Sunday. They need it first thing Monday morning.
I think that's the case.
Yeah. But I mean, so like, are there other logistical stuff? Like, do you have to fly things in, ship things in?
Yeah. I mean, there are some. I mean, the audio and video, that's mostly digital stuff. So that's for the actual artworks. But there are paintings and other things that has to be shipped. But that's not so much on my table.
I was gonna say, so who takes care of like what I call like customs and things like that?
I think Berthe does most of that.
Okay, so that's not on your.
Well, I kind of get updates on what happens, but it's not my job. It's Berthe who does that. There are some shipments, but it's not like an enormous amount.
I mean, I've seen the planes that come in, and they're reasonably small. So, like, do things come by plane or by boat?
There must be some boat transport as well. I mean, not that much you can fit into the plane.
No, they're pretty small.
And of course, you have the ferry. I don't know what kind of cargo capacity it has, but you have all these big stores here, so they must get their goods somehow.
Indeed, yeah.
Like even the electronics store, or they have some big ones in the center. Yeah. I haven't visited, but you can buy a washer and a dryer and stuff like that. So
yeah, so they
of course, there is some sea transport, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen big ships coming in and out of the harbor, so I'm sure that things like that. Because I mean, there's a lot of people that live here, like surprisingly, and then they need to live. They need all their building supplies, household supplies, all that stuff. So I'm sure that getting your electronic stuff is reasonably normal. I would say almost.
Yes.
Except it just takes a little bit more planning.
Yeah.
In advance, because this is not I doubt Amazon delivers here. Like 2 day shipping.
True. Well, I think they do, but they don't have their own delivery system. I mean, it goes through the regular Norwegian mailing system. I'm quite certain, because I've been ordering stuff from Amazon before they had any national presence there at all. So then it was just through the normal mailing system.
Interesting. So let's go back to the beginning of it. So you got hired to do this, and then sort of what are some of the early conversations that happen, and then sort of how did the conversations of like the process sort of continue to evolve and change over the course of basically day one being hired to completion of a project?
Yeah. So the day one, say it's okay. I get to look into the material they have and the planning they had at that point. So that was basically list of artists, some descriptions, some details, some not at all, some videos of the venues and pictures, and then the meetings has been a lot about trying to get a clear understanding of what each artist will do, and often the curators don't know exactly yet, so it's a process. You have to ask several times, and
well, it seems like between the other projects you work on and let's say in comparison to LIAF, like so your rooftop at the National Museum was a very specific project. It was probably, perfectly designed, and then your job was simply to sort of manufacture and produce.
No, actually, it was the artist herself. She made a kind of model with toilet paper rolls. So that's where I started.
Okay.
So from that, I had to make drawings and make sure that everything would actually fit in the space.
So I mean, I guess what I'm saying is like some projects are probably very precise, but by the time they even start working with you, and some projects are a bit more open to interpretation and flexible and collaborative. So like, do you have like a love of one of those over the other? Do you
Yeah, I
enjoy
mean,
the creative part, or do you enjoy just like somebody coming and just saying, "This is what I want, just do it for me"?
Sometimes that's very can be very. I mean, it's easy when someone comes and say that, because then you know what to do exactly. As in contrast to LIAF, it's a huge. Yeah, there's a lot of communication.
Yeah, at the moment there are 33 artists.
Yeah, so it's quite demanding in that sense. You have to keep track of a lot of details, and there are tons of emails, and yeah, it's a different process.
I can imagine it's almost more fun. You know, like if you're talking about like enjoyment of the process of doing it, like it would be a lot in some ways. I would find if an artist just comes and says, "This is the object I want produced large scale, just make it happen." That's just sort of nuts and bolts technical thing. But it feels like the LIAF process is a bit more going back to earlier, like collaborative. Like you really get to sort of say, yes, we can do that, or hey, we even have this better thing to offer. We have this other technical thing that could enhance it. You know, so like there's a bit more literally like creativity in your role than might be in some other roles.
Yeah, both yes and no. Like even in those very strict examples, there is room for creativity, because there are details that no one has thought of always that has to be solved, and you have to design some custom solution often to do it. So that's the creative part in those seemingly very square processes.
I love it. Now, I mean, not to be overly personal, you don't have to answer. You don't have to answer this if you're not comfortable with it. But like, this is, to me, this is like a fascinating aspect of the arts industry. That's basically like production. Would you call your, like, if you had a business card, which nobody has business cards anymore, but like if you had a business card, what would it say your title is? Producer, production?
I wouldn't have a title. I think if I give someone a card, then they will remember why they have it. And no, but seriously, I wouldn't go handing out, or maybe no, I don't think so.
All right, but I mean, it's like, what's the job title? I guess would be the question. What is it overall? So not just at LIAF, because you gave me what that title is, but as a profession. What's your job title? Like when you go to holiday dinners with people and they say, "Hey, what are you up to?" What do you tell them?
I can try to describe it in a few words. I mean, it's about logistics, organizing, and solving problems, and production, of course. Production, yeah. I haven't really found a fitting title. Producer, it's often used.
I like problem solver personally. I think that's a great title. Because I mean, to a certain extent, that's what you are, because you're the go-between. So like artists have great ideas, organizations have budgets and legal things that they have to follow. You know, regulations like you were talking about, like toxicity and stuff. And you're the go-between on all that.
Yeah, often I'm a mediator between curators and artists, for example. That's been, something I've been doing a lot. And making them aware of facts, like, remember, a municipality requires this and this, or whatever.
Sure, safety precautions, like trip hazards.
We have to close off the street. It does cost 17,000 kroners, or
I don't know what that is in euros, but
let's say it's 1,500 euros or something.
So, as a general part of your job, so LIAF, you got this position through having worked with one of the board members previously. Are most of your jobs that you do things that you have to actively propose? Do you have to sort of apply for them, or is this sort of aspect of the profession very much of I work with one person, that person then recommends to another job kind of sort of continuation?
Yeah, it's often that people either that I've worked with them before, or that they know someone who's that has worked with me, and they say this is who you need to talk to or something like that. So yeah, not always. I can apply for things also, like what I mentioned is art for schools. That's something. Then you're more of a curator or something. So that's something you apply for.
And again, sorry, going back to my question that I never got to about like a little bit personal, like this is something you make a decent living at doing this.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay. And I think it's fabulous because, like, you know, too many people in the arts do too much work for not enough money.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to hear when there are sort of these little parts to the industry that actually like are pretty sustainable. So basically you do a good job, you get recommended by the people that you did the job with to get another job. So as long as you continue to sort of basically have a good reputation, you can actually make a very nice career out of this.
Yeah, it seems that way so far. So, I mean, I don't do any advertising. I don't have any Instagram, nothing.
Wow. That's very rare.
And I think it's very liberating not having to do that.
I'm very envious that you don't have to do that, actually.
So I've been thinking about it several times, but if someone, I'd rather ask someone, please just tag me or add some credits to my name on those pictures or something.
I'm very envious. So, yeah, Instagram is like the bane of my existence. I freaking hate using that thing. Like,
yeah, no, I as long as I can choose not to be a part of such ecosystem, I prefer not to.
You're better for it for sure. But all right, any other sort of things you want to talk about specifically, sort of LIAF related? Positive, negative. I don't mean like quote unquote like negative, but like I know there've been lots of fluctuations in the process of like choosing a location falls through, planning to put something in a particular place ends up not working there.
I think this is very common. I've been working with other big not similar projects in the sense that they're in not in a remote place, but these things happen all the time. It's part of the process, I would say.
You are a very calm person. Like you take all of this in stride. You're just like, oh, we planned for this for 3 months and now we can't do it at all and we have to do something completely different. Okay, so let's move on and do that now. Like, and you that's just your mentality, your sort of personality.
I mean, if you're constantly stressed doing this, it's not gonna work.
I was gonna say, you were like, from the day we met, you had just been very calm about everything. You're just like, oh, that's the thing that's totally new that nobody had ever mentioned for months that we're suddenly doing as of today. And you're like, okay, let's do that.
Yeah. No, I don't know any other way. Well, I've been stressed in at times before, but I think I found that, at least for me personally, well, first of all, I'm able to not be or if I'm preparing well, then there is less of a chance that I will be stressed. So I try to make as many detailed preparations as I can, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about when I'm here, like what we need to prepare in detail.
Well, that's one of the things I always think about when it comes to like events, festivals, because I've put on events and festivals or participated in organizing them before. And it's always, my position is always like, plan for the worst, have a plan A and a plan B, and if best case scenario, plan C and then like over plan,
absolutely. I think that's the way to go about it. Like, think that you have control over everything, like to the amount of bolts or screws you need, because there will be things that you haven't thought of. But then if you're at that stage that you're kind of confident that you've been thinking about everything, then it's easier to handle those things that come up later. So,
but I mean, it's as I said, it's sort of a certain personality of person that thinks like that. Because most, a lot of other people, like I always make fun of my wife on these podcasts, but my wife, like if she needs a a screw. She will literally go to the store and buy one screw. And I'm like, you never buy one screw. You buy three, because maybe it's cross-threaded. Maybe there'll be some problem with it. Maybe it'll be too long, too short. What, like you never buy just one, because there's always the possibility that any technical aspect of it could not work quite as well as you think it is. And so it's a very I love it. I appreciate what you do, because it's a prepare for the worst but hope for the best.
Yeah, it's the same.
That's my mantra. I have two mantras: prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and have a certain amount of structure in order to allow for a certain amount of absurdity.
Yeah.
Those are my like daily things. And that sounds like your life.
Yeah, no, a bit of structure is quite important. Otherwise, I couldn't be doing multiple things at the same time. And also being able to kind of set things aside mentally, it's important, because you can't think of or just being able to set aside a continuous amount of time to think about one process or one project, and try not to interfere too many other ongoing processes at the same time, if you understand what I mean.
Oh, I absolutely do. You're describing my daily life. But I mean, so like your life, you I would imagine, I mean, given the fact that we're here in LIAF and you've been here for the same amount of time as me, so 6 days, 5 days.
5 days.
You don't have like a 9 to 5. You work on Mondays, you stop work on Fridays, all that kind of stuff.
No,
like you work when work is necessary.
Well, I used to like working till 3 o'clock at night and more. But the thing is that I have a 2-year-old at home, so I have to be even more structured now, in a sense. But I mean, there is a lot of flexibility in my day. Often I don't deliver in kindergarten before 10 o'clock maybe. But that means I have to work some hours after dinner before going to bed.
Well, and that's okay. I did not know you had a child. This is an interesting one, because I have run into this a lot in the arts. Like, how did having a child sort of change anything, for good or for bad, in your career?
Well, we had a child during the pandemic, which was quite a good timing.
Was that good timing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, well, it was not any fear of missing out on anything, at least.
I would have been afraid to go to the hospital, though.
No, it was fine. The hospital is like less than a kilometer away. We walked from the hospital back home.
So, okay.
Yeah, no.
Well, because I wonder, like, about does having a child in the arts, because traditionally a lot of the artists don't have children, like in the old days. Now that's less common, I feel, these days. But I feel like having the choice to have a child then sort of either makes you a little bit more serious, a little bit more professional. You're something like, okay, wait, now I actually have to take my career seriously, or I have to maybe take my career less seriously in order to devote a little bit more time to
I have
children.
to manage my time a lot better. Like, I can't socialize as much as before.
As every parent says,
yeah.
Yes.
So I had to choose what kind of social events that I will kind of prioritize.
Mm-hmm.
Drinking a lot less, of course, because less time. You have to be focused on the time that is available. So yeah,
All right.
some adjustments, but for the better, I guess. At least from a health perspective.
Sure, indeed, yeah. All right. Any last things you want to touch on about LIAF in particular? So, like, because we're still not, or you're, I should say, I was going to say we're not. I'm not part of it. You're still not done. So, like, there's still a lot to put together.
A lot of work to be done.
So, like, what are some of the things that you're excited to complete, and maybe even some things that have some concerns about completing at this point?
Today's the work that's left today will be kind of nice to have done. Maybe I'll do that in Bodø when waiting for the plane to Oslo. This is more sending a list of technical AV equipment, and then there comes planning for. I need some people up here, of course, and figure out which people that is, what kind of skills they need.
What kind of skills? So I'm gonna go with AV would obviously be one of the
Yeah,
skills.
that's one of them. But I also need people who don't mind standing for 10 hours covering windows.
Right. Yeah. Blackout class.
Yeah. So a combination.
Okay.
And then there are a lot of other aspects that come up during these days that I have to kind of research and make some proposals for how to solve.
Thank you very much for taking the time to chat.
You're much welcome.
Before you go, we would like to thank you for listening all the way to the end of the conversation. We would appreciate it if you would share this podcast with your friends, family, co-workers, studio mates, or anyone with an interest in the arts and creative industries. The building and strengthening of the arts and creative community both today and in the future is at the core of our mission for this podcast. They can listen and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. We are produced by 5014, and the music was created by Pete Bybee. The Wise Fool Art Podcast is supported in part by an EEA grant from Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway in an effort to work together for a green, competitive, and inclusive Europe. We would also like to thank our partners Hunt Kastner in Prague, Czech Republic, and Kunstsentrene i Norge in Norway. Links to EEA grants and our partner organizations are available in the show notes or on our website, wisefoolpod.com.